Today is a very special video. Finally, after over 3.5 years of ownership, I'm going to do a bike check video of my Commencal Meta TR V4 2016 model year. I bought this thing when I was 16 for $1,600. Biggest investment of my life, and I was super excited to get it. But I knew that I had a lot of upgrade plans that I would eventually carry out, and now in 2020, I believe that this bike is about as good as it's gonna get, and I'm quite satisfied with how it rides. So let's get into what I put on it. So one of my most popular videos is about my dropper post. It's one of the first upgrades that I ever did to this bike. It's the Brand X Ascend dropper post with 120 millimeters of travel in the 31.6 millimeter post diameter. And I believe I got it for like $150, and it was one of the cheapest posts you could get at the time. And it's been serving me well for about 3 years now. So definitely a great buy, and totally worth the money. I guess I'll go right above that to the seat. I believe there's a Specialized Phenom saddle. Bought it this past winter, and I'm quite liking it. It definitely looks a lot cooler than the Ergon one that I had before, and way more comfortable than the original Commencal setup that came with this thing. Now moving on down to the bottom of the bike, I guess, I've got Crank Brothers stamped pedals. I believe these are the larger ones. I've got a size 10.5 foot, so those have been working out really well for me. I got them in the nice blue color, kind of an accent with the lockout lever on the shock. Then I've got the oval chain ring, the one-up components one with 32 teeth. Really like that. I am definitely going to stick with oval chain rings for my bike. And then I've got a Lezyne water bottle cage, the one that you can take out from the right hand side. Moving on up to the shock, this is a Rockshox Monarch RT. It's just got the lockout and the rebound adjustment, but I'm pretty sure my lockout is pretty broken. Luckily though, I think this bike pedals well enough that I don't really feel the need to lock it out, except for on long fire road climbs. Now moving on up to the cockpit, I have a RaceFace Affect stem in 50 millimeter length, paired with a RaceFace Affect handlebar, 780 mil wide. I don't know what the rise is off the top of my head. I think it's 10 millimeters. Then I've got black P&W loam grips on the ends. Really like those. Definitely going to keep getting them once these ones wear out. Don't know if I'm going to go with the orange or stick with the black yet. I think the orange is a slightly different orange than this bike, but we'll see. I've got the stock Brand X lever up front here. Not the greatest lever in the world, but I like how it looks and it works. Then I've got my NX Eagle shifter, which of course has my NX Eagle drivetrain out back. And I've got my Code R brakes, which I love. They're the best upgrade that I've gotten on this bike, except for maybe the fork. After going away to school and realizing that I'm going to be riding much steeper terrain on a more regular basis, the Avid brakes that came on this bike, 2-piston, were just not cutting it anymore. And these brakes, they just give you so much more control. I think it's one of the best upgrades that I could have possibly done to this bike. Now moving on down to the fork, my Rockshox 35 Gold RL. My most popular video was reviewing this fork, and it's been holding up quite well for the year now that I've been riding it. Mainly got it for the added stiffness over the Recon that came on this bike, and it just has rebound and low speed compression to lockout. Nothing fancy, but it really makes this bike feel way more stable at speed. So I've got an NX Eagle drivetrain, the 11 to 50 tooth cassette. I don't have the crankset. I kept the original crankset with the oval chainring. The NX derailleur's alright, you know, shifts okay. It just wanted the extra range, really. Now underneath that, I've got a nuke-proof wheel set that's actually a WTB I-29 wheel set, rebranded. It's got 29 millimeter internal width, so I can run some pretty wide tires on here. Really like how they sound. Sound pretty cool for entry-level wheel set. Yeah. So those have been holding up really well. Then I've got Maxxis Mini and DHR2 on the back and a DHF on the front, both in 2.6 inch tire widths. Really like that setup. Gives nice cushion and amazing grip. Like, this is my favorite tire setup now. Altogether, I think this bike weighs in around 34 pounds or something like that. Don't know exactly, but it's a hefty bike. 120, 140. I don't know what you would categorize those travel numbers. It's kind of like a downcountry / all mountain trail bike thing with code brakes, like almost downhill brakes. I don't know. I just try and make this as capable of a bike as I possibly could without making it so unbearable for like Long Island pedally trails. It climbs all right, like I said before, but it's really good on the downhills, and I really like this bike. You know, I've spent a lot of money upgrading it, and I've ridden tons of trails, lots of miles, and I'm very grateful that I could even afford such a bike and upgrade it over time, and I don't foresee myself getting rid of it anytime soon. I really like Commencal as a brand. They're really cool, and I think this bike's almost kind of vintage now because their 2021 models don't have this interesting shock linkage situation going on, and kind of makes mine unique. And yeah, I have no reason to get rid of this thing. I'm going to keep riding it until it breaks me or I break it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about my bike and how I set it up, don't hesitate to drop those down in the comments, and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and remember, stay adventuring, my friends.